Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. If this is your first time visiting our show, it's called Get to Know Them. I am your host, Monica Graves, and I broadcast here once a week from my studio in Burlington, Ontario, at the Glam Jewels studio. And I am so excited to have you here. This is a show where I interview my most favorite people, and it's an opportunity for them to come on and share their stories. And I'm hoping in doing so that they inspire you. So thank you so much for being here. We do have two show sponsors that I wanted to talk to you about before I introduce our guest. The first sponsor is Brenda Bedome. She's a local Canadian designer based out of Toronto, and I'm actually wearing her satin top today. And I've also got her pants on. She's got a beautiful line of clothing. So if you want to check her out, go to brendabedome.com. Use the coupon code Get to Know Them. She will give you 22% off of your order when you use that coupon code. And then, of course, my business, Glam Jewels, is also a sponsor of the show. And you can check me out at glamjulz.com. I'm wearing jewels today, so go on there and you'll find some lovely things to wear with your Brenda Bedome outfits or anything else you have. Thank you so much for supporting small business. You guys are always so great with that. And now it is time to introduce our guest, and I am so excited. I know a lot of you guys are too, because you know who's coming on. I cannot wait for you to meet Michael Mastrodicasa. And Mike, I didn't even go through how to pronounce his last name before, so I hope I did a good job. Michael, if you don't know him, is the owner of Scooters Roller Palace in Mississauga. His mom and dad purchased the rink in 1995. It had already been there since 1975 and was a home to many skaters. Since day one, Mike says he and his family have always strived to make sure that Scooters is a safe haven for kids and that it has a family-friendly environment. When Mike was 15 and 16 years old and his parents had just bought the business, he was skating there every weekend. Today, he is the guy with all hands on deck as he greets his skaters with a big smile, makes sure everyone is skating safely, and always has time to make both his staff and patrons feel like family. If anyone knows about the business of roller skating, it's Mike. If there's any place I would rather be on a Thursday night from 8 until 11 p.m., there is no other place I'd rather be. And thanks to Mike and all of the amazing people at Scooters, nothing gets in the way of skate night with me and my pals. I could roller skate and talk about it for days. So here we go. Yay! Mike,
Hi, Monica.
the myth, the man, the legend. Did I say it right?
Listen, thank you very much for the kind words, and you nailed it. You nailed
Okay,
my
good.
last name perfectly. The best first attempt I've ever heard. Thank you very much. How are you?
Oh, that's amazing. I'm great. I'm so good, Mike. And I'm so happy to have you on. Just like from a personal point of view, I've been coming to Scooters for years. I wasn't attending like back before your mom and dad owned it, because we actually had a roller rink in Oakville and another one in Burlington, which was closer to me. But discovering Scooters like later on in the 90s was like really awesome. And I kind of abandoned roller skating as life got busier, but always loved it. And I have to say, like, coming back to it now, my friend Melanie and I, as you know, we've been coming since November, and now I've got my other friend Catherine who's joined. And it's just amazing. It's like nothing is going to get in the way of this Thursday night now. We are just so happy to be there. And you've created this beautiful space that's just, it's quite magical.
I'm so glad you enjoyed.
Uh,
And I think it's one of the few places that you can still, it's a little bit of fun, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of camaraderie all put together, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's unique like that. And I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad you started coming out. It was a pleasure to meet you finally. You guys
Oh, that's so
you guys fit in perfectly to the Thursday night crowd.
amazing. Yeah, we hope to recruit more people. So
Slowly but
it's
surely,
good.
I'm sure this can't hurt, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, Mike, the first question I ask all of my guests, and we'll get into all the roller skating chat, but I really want to know, what did little Mike want to be when he grew up?
I wanted to be a cowboy. No, honestly, you know, I come from a very educated family, so I was always in the business world. My father, my brothers, all that. And I ended up going to the rink. I don't think we ever actually ended up doing what we planned when we were kids, or very few of us do, right? So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. So you were always in this entrepreneurial environment.
Yeah, I
So
think, to a certain
yeah,
extent, a lot more than a lot of other people would have been being exposed to different things growing up, seeing different sides of things. But yeah, for the most part,
yeah, that's great. So it must have been quite exciting for you as a teenager to have your parents buy a roller rink. Like, what was that like?
it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, we weren't from Mississauga, we were from the Vaughan area, so we were out of our element to a certain extent. But
Yeah.
Scooters was always, I think it's changed for the better over the years, but it was always a busy spot.
Mhm.
And being the two kids, me and my brother from out of town whose parents owned the place, it was, especially in my teenagers, they were very good times. We used to take a
Yeah.
go train to work every Friday night, and that was it.
Oh, that's so great. And did you have to do a lot of work to it when you bought it, or did you kind of keep it the way it was?
Um, you know what, Monica? When my parents first took over the place, I was young. My dad was always about school. My involvement was minimal.
Hmm.
But I do know is that my parents put a lot of time and effort in. Now, whether they
Yeah.
changed it, they put a lot of time. They worked extremely hard.
Yeah.
Thanks to them, we have a viable business now. That the roller rink that's busy, and I think to your point, everybody has a great time when they come out.
Yeah. So when did they pass the torch over to you? How did that happen?
Um, I want to say that the torch was never passed. It was just, again, we're a close family.
Yeah.
My parents were getting older, as was I. It would have been easier for me to help out a little bit more than I was in the past, and my parents could get a little bit older and enjoy stuff. But my dad is still very involved. Not on site. You've never
Hmm.
met him, obviously, but he's still very
Yeah.
involved in the business in the back end. And it's a true definition of a family business. We work
Yeah.
hard as a family, and the whole family benefits from the business.
Great.
So I got more responsible. I felt bad for my parents, right?
Yeah, yeah, you want to contribute. That's
Yeah.
great. So, Mike, do you have any contact with the previous owner anymore of
Well,
Scooters?
not the owner that we bought it from, but the original owner of Scooters still skates at our rink every Sunday night.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So
Gr-
well, this gentleman, his family, very much like mine, opened up these rinks before he was the original owner of Scooters, and he still comes out
Yeah.
every Sunday night to skate.
Wow. And it's always been called Scooters throughout all the years. It never had a different name.
I don't think it opened to Scooters.
Okay.
But I think the previous
Oh,
owner had this Scooters, but I really don't know that much
yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's wonderful that he still comes out. I'll have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
come on a Sunday and meet
You'll,
him.
you'll,
Yeah.
you'll graduate to the Sunday night eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm trying to get my husband to come so that, because he's a good skater too, but he's sort of like, no, go have fun with the girls, but he's got to come out as well
Yeah,
because
well,
everybody,
we'll pressure him. You got to come out once,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So, I have a whole bunch of questions for you, Mike. Are you a skater yourself?
Um,
Like, I know you skated
can
when
I
you were younger, but
can I skate?
yeah,
Yes, I can skate,
yeah,
but I am. I'm at the rink so much that on my spare time I
yeah,
have other responsibilities of life, so I don't have the luxury of skating. I tend to put my
yeah,
skates on every once in a while and go help the boys cruise if it gets too busy out there. I'll make that one or
yeah,
twice a year a cameo appearance. So,
yeah.
no, I'm a decent skater. I can hold my own out there.
Yeah, good. And I really love and respect how everyone's out there having a good time, but you are so conscious of people's safety and you're constantly, on the announcement telling people if you're a less experienced skater, please go to the inside because you see, people like holding onto the wall when they first get there and
The level.
so that's got to be, and you're always smiling. I mean, any human being that's said that night after night after night, you know,
It's
you're
I
it's quite amazing.
it's not easy. It's not easy, and you know what? The safety is so important. It's sometimes it's so hard to predict or prevent what's going to happen. So we do our best to mitigate the problem. I don't want anybody to ever get hurt because whether you're having a good time or a bad time, that
Yeah,
injury is going to make you have a bad time. Um,
yeah,
people who aren't familiar with the roller skating, like the dynamics of it and the unwritten rules that come with it, it's important that we get that word out there. So hopefully you'll have a lot less issues. Right? And there's so many new
Yeah.
people that come out on a weekly basis that have never been roller skating before, that they don't know the rules of how things to make things safe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are very good at it. Um, so I wanted to ask you also, do you sort of have friends in your industry? Do you have pals from other rinks like across North America that you know of?
Um,
Um,
truthfully, like,
you-
there are no rinks left in Ontario or Canada. If there are in Canada, they're far and
yeah.
few between. We actually, the owner of the rink in Buffalo comes to our rink, so I know him.
Yeah.
And that aside, because it's such, especially here in Toronto, it's such a small market. I mean, we're the only rink
Yes.
around. There's very little that you can meet. In the US, they have a lot more. I've traveled to a couple of different rinks in the US. I mean, but
Mhm.
as far as I'm the guy when it comes to roller skating in Toronto. And now, obviously, there's
Yeah.
this new gentleman that's opened up, right? So
Yeah. Right. So what, Mike, if you look at all these other, the rinks in the States, and then we've got the new one that just opened, what makes scooters unique? Like, what is it about scooters that's kind of different from everybody else? If you had to,
I think it's. I say this with a positive and negative. I think it still looks very authentic from the
yeah,
era, and it's been around. It's 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 stuck around. It's the only one that's stuck around since the 70s. Um,
right.
so that's basically it. I mean, the new one,
Yeah.
it's difficult. It draws people because of the nostalgia, and it's known. I mean, even though the outrage when the news broke that they
Hmm.
applied for permits, the outrage. People were disappointed. We got a lot of calls and whatnot from it.
Yeah.
It's been around. Excuse me.
Yeah. There's
It's been
ups
around
and
for a long
downs.
time. It's been around for a long time. At one point or
Hmm.
another, so many people have stepped foot through scooters over the 30,
Yeah.
50 years that it's been open, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you believe that's 50 years? Jesus. That's
Not
crazy.
through all the owners, and all. I guess the biggest
Yeah.
comment I have is I haven't been here in 35 years. I get that all the time.
Yes. It's so funny because a lot of people, like, I keep trying to recruit, women my age because those are the women I skated with when I was 12,
Yeah,
13. And we all have that story. And all of them are like, oh no, I'm not into broken bones. I'm not into this. And then I tell them about Bill and the 7 o'clock lesson on the Thursday night. And it's like, he's got the power to take someone from holding the wall to skating the rink like within an
Bill's
hour, and
Bill's
there's
fantastic.
nothing to be afraid of.
Bill is, like I said, friendly, always smiling, always willing to lend a hand. Bill is one of the greatest guys that works for me, and he's a
Yeah,
seasoned veteran.
he
Right?
is.
But Bill and my son,
Yeah,
he makes it fun and friendly. You've been to
yeah.
lessons before. He's got the horses that they ride around on and whatnot.
Yes,
He
it's so good. And
he adds a little bit of Bill to the lesson. It's actually
he
quite
does. He does, and I love his sarcasm. Like, he's kind of like a George Carlin on roller skates, like
good. And they both have the
he's
ponytail too, right?
yes, the gray ponytail and everything, and he's so funny. Like, I think one of the first times we went, he said, "Okay, here's how you're gonna stand on your skates. You never want to lean back because you're gonna fall on your butt. You got to slightly bend your knees, lean a little bit forward." And he showed us exactly, and he goes, "So now, if any of you fall down because you lean back, not my problem. Next." But it was so great. Like, we were howling, and he calls us all pumpkins, and it's just so lovely. Like, right away you feel like this guy is really
Yeah,
taking care
Bill's
of
good.
you, and all your people are like that, Mike. Like, the guys that help you on and off of the rink, like, they're so
I
there for you.
I am blessed with great kids that work for me. I really am, and I don't know what it is because this is the only time I've really run a business hiring, part-time young adults to work for me.
Yeah.
But I don't have. They are all fantastic. All we keep getting is positive comments from all of them. And
Good.
I'm either the luckiest man in the world to that extent, or I don't even know what else it could be. But yeah,
Well,
fantastic. I love them all dearly. But we have a good relationship with each other.
yeah,
The
and
boss and the employee, we get along well. I'm a pretty cool guy.
I love that. And I think that is for me, that's what makes scooters so unique. Like I love the whole retro thing, but also, every time we go, like it starts with you, like, oh my God, you guys came back. And you always say, how are you tonight? In the meantime, there's like 100 people behind us, and you're not like, all right, pay and move it on through. Every person you go, how are you tonight? How are you tonight? And so you're attracting that, in your staff, in the people who come there. They're all wonderful. And a lot of the more experienced skaters, like they're talking to me and my friends, like
Yeah.
Mary Jane, I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking to Mary Jane. We're one of the cool kids now. Like it makes you feel like you're, back in grade 7 talking to the experienced grade 9s. I don't know. It's really magical.
Good.
So
I'm glad. I mean, these are all positive
yeah.
comments. So I mean, it's all fantastic. They're great. I'm so happy to hear them. Right?
Good. So, Mike, everybody, inquiring minds want to know, you and I have talked about this. Every once in a while, all of us skate fans get on somewhere on our Instagram feed or some news article that talks about gentrification in the neighborhood and that scooters is going to be torn down and condos are going to go up. And anyway, I would love for you to speak about that and sort of the history with this threat of scooters being torn down and what the future holds in that department.
Well, the unfortunate reality is that the property itself was sold in 2016, so it's already been 7 years,
Okay.
and they're definitely. It looks like they're going to be redeveloping the whole area. Yeah, it's unfortunate because when it happens, these scooters, the place, the legend, the icon is going to be gone. But it's really, I think the new development will make the area look good, and hopefully another rink will open up to accommodate the thousands of skaters that we have.
Yeah.
It has been 7 years, and truthfully, it could be another 7 years. We don't. There is no official timeline.
Okay.
I know that it's going to be a sad day when it happens. I know when we sold the building, my mother was tearful for the first month because she put so many, and this was 7 years ago, because she has put a lot of work into the place over the years. But at this time, we don't actually have a timeline.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been 7 years till now. So theoretically, it could be another 7. But I think it's safe to say that every day that passes, we are definitely getting one day closer to the inevitable.
Okay.
It's going to be a sad day, for me, my family, the scooters community. But again, it's been 7 years. Hopefully, it'll go on for a couple of years longer, right? So,
okay.
But the ball is rolling. The ball is definitely rolling, and it's going to happen sooner or later. So we're just going to enjoy it as long as we can. Hopefully people come out and take advantage of it for the last authentic roller rink from the 70s, if not anything.
Exactly.
Right? What is left from the 70s that we still do? Right? It's
right.
It's pretty. I think that's the coolest thing about it. It's tested the time. It's stuck around. It's always been busy. It's fun. It's a good community of people that show up. And we're always getting new faces, such as yourself.
Yeah.
New faces that come out and enjoy themselves and continually coming out. And we love to have you. You add to the Scooters family, and all we want is good people that come out.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. Now, if the builders want an idea, my friend Catherine and I sat down and said, why couldn't we keep scooters and build on top of it? And it was like, the skaters could buy condos in there. This could be like a retirement building
roller
for
skating
roller
retire.
skaters.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we could just call it Gen X, condos over scooters or something.
The problem in the retirement center, the old people aren't going to be able to skate anymore. So.
Hey, wait a sec. But what about Disco Bob? Come on. This guy
he is the exception
amazing.
to the rule. He is the exception to the rule.
And that's a great thing to talk about, because I don't think a lot of people realize that. Talk to us a little bit about the age range of people that come there.
Oh, wow. We have 2-year-olds, and I'll never forget, in the 90s, we had a 92-year-old couple that would skate together weekly.
Wow.
Okay, they're no longer around, but they were very unique. Like a husband and wife that grew up skating, 92 years old, and they're still doing the waltzes. But at the time, I thought it was incredible. I mean, but right now we get 70-year-olds that come over. Bill's in his 70s. Right, so we have people in their 70s. We have a wide range from 2 to 70. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, from the father-daughter perspective, I think a lot of fathers enjoy coming there with their daughter because at least it gives them something to do together, right? They're not taking.
Yes.
It's something that young and old families or whatnot can enjoy it together. It's not a parent watching it from a jungle gym because they're not allowed to go on it, right? I mean, and don't get me wrong, a lot of parents prefer not to do anything. But it's nice to see the various generations of people skating together, grandfathers and granddaughters at the same time, right? Just
Yeah.
and again, being so big family wise, I think it's nice to see that. To see those
It's very nice to see that.
those are the kind of things that you really don't see anymore, right? It just as a general rule, not as an influence.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah. And you must have seen over the years like a lot of differences in terms of like the crowds that you're drawing and how big those crowds are, because I remember coming to you guys in the late 90s, early 2000s, and everybody was wearing rollerblades. I wore skates, but and most people I noticed out there were wearing blades because that's what everybody was into. And now there's been this like resurgence of roller skating. It's become more and more popular again, and I'm
I really
seeing more skates than
I
ever.
really think that anybody that comes to scooters or any rink in general with blades
Yeah.
on, and if they come regularly enough, they'll see what the skaters do in roller skates, and I think most of them will make the transition. I really
Yeah.
do. I think that there's a lot more there's a lot more that they can do in the roller skates and the roller blades. Right.
Mhm.
And I think I'd like to say the stats are pretty high on that. And I would say if you're a young adult that's rollerblading and you come to scooters regularly, I would say there's an 80-90% chance you're jumping ship. Even now,
Yeah.
the younger kids, they're still into rollerblades. They still rather rollerblade. That's always their first go-to. But
Okay.
again, some of those younger kids are going to grow up into older kids, and they will make the transition as well. Right?
Yes. That's right. Skater Rob just chimed in and said quads rule, which is so true. Yeah, it's so true, you
You know,
know.
it's funny. I was a hockey player and a roller skater, and I've never put on inline skates in my life.
Wow. Really? You
Never.
never have?
I played roller hockey, but we used roller skates when I used to play when I was in my 16, 17. I've
Yeah.
never put on roller, but I think roller skates are more enjoyable when you have them on. Forget about what they look like. When you put them on and you're skating around,
Yeah.
it's a little bit easier to maneuver.
Yeah, that's great. Sherry Lowe Poyton is on and she's saying we will roll until we can't no more, which is great. Yeah. And there's a couple of women. There's a woman named Debbie. I can't remember her last name now. We met her through Mary Jane, and she was saying she drives like all the way from Port Dover to come. Debbie Herring, here she is, skate family
Oh
forever.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
she comes all the way from Port Dover. Like, it's so amazing. And she's an incredible skater. And that's what she was
Hi,
saying
Deb.
last week. I'm doing this forever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, very, very cool.
yeah,
So I do have a couple of questions for you from people who submitted before the interview, Mike. And actually, Skater Rob was talking about with roller pony not being able to touch the market for anyone under 18 and having some floor issues. Have you given any thought to opening another location when eventually Scooters does close? And for anybody who doesn't know roller pony, that's a new rink that's just recently opened. And is it in Rexdale or?
I think it's Rexdale.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
yeah, what
I guess
have you thought about that?
the reality is anything is possible.
Mhm.
It's not. It is a long shot. There's no question. There are a number of reasons that it's a long shot, but but there's a possibility. But the truth is that we don't know when this one's closing, so it's very hard to
Right.
plan for the future when you don't know how long something's going to be around, right? So we're almost in a purgatory. We're in the middle right now. We're running the business as best we can, not knowing how much longer it's really going to be there. And the developers have been quite fair with us. They give us notice as far as what's going on. But again, it changes regularly, and there's a fluid relationship with the both of us. So,
Yeah.
if we have ever consider opening another one, again, the decision would have to be made after this one actually closes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge about that specifically is going to be the location of Scooters right now. It's a great spot. It's a great area. It's accessible by multiple highways. It's close to, it borders on the city of Toronto and everything west. And anywhere else you go now, you're not going to have that accessibility. right?
Hmm.
And that's the biggest challenge. And to your point, that's why people can come from Port Dover or from Hamilton or from Buffalo or from Scarborough, or because there's enough highway access that you can make it, and there's the GO line, of course, that they can take it,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's going to be the hardest part about opening. Where else do you do it? Where do you open that can make it as convenient as it is now for the people like Deb or like Skater
Yeah.
that come from an hour away or plus, or the guys who come from
Mhm.
Buffalo? It's
That's right. And to give it that vibe again and everything. Like I know they're on the North Service in Oakville, you have like the Galaxy Club. I remember all ages of dances there in the 80s. I don't know if that place what they're doing with that place, but there are some nice big buildings around. But and it's such a big investment. Like the wonderful thing with you guys too is you've created something for all ages that's affordable. And I also love the whole idea about scooters always being a real safe haven for people, because there are troubled kids who have probably gone, that are now adults that have been going there
oh, for
just for
sure.
a place to forget their troubles. And you've been the best therapy they ever could have asked for. And if you were charging $30 a person, they wouldn't be able to
Yeah, no,
afford that, right?
no
Like,
I was one of the
yeah.
bad kids when I was a teenager going to scooters.
No, not
so,
you, come on.
so no, absolutely. I mean, we have seen a lot over the years, and I believe it or not, some of the trouble, well, some I say trouble, some of the kids that were less than polite back in the day, they come back every now and again, and you see how they've matured and grown up and made changes in their lives.
Yeah.
So that's what happens
Yeah.
when we've been there for so long. You see generations of people. My kids that I skated with, now they're coming back with their kids. We've had 3 generations of families work at scooters, like grandfather, father, and then son kind of thing, right? Over the years, everybody.
Yeah.
So it's
It's so special, yeah. And there's a guy, Mike, I follow on Instagram. His name is Bishop Olds, and he's based out of the States, and he's like a gospel singer and a preacher, but he's a huge roller skater. And he did a beautiful post recently. I actually put it in Facebook in the discussion about this talk show with you. And he talks about how our emotions are the seat of our soul, and how roller skating is something that we can do, that is an activity that helps us to process our emotions, process what it is we're going through in our life. And really, the combination of the music with the activity, it's such a beautiful concoction of pure joy that it allows people to really, I mean, it's probably one of the highest forms of meditation that I've ever done, where
great.
I go out there and I'm just like, all that matters right now are these skates on my feet, that I don't fall on my ass, that I can do a crossover every once in a while. And like, you just feel so good and free. It's kind of reminds me of the feeling of when you're a kid and it's spring and you get on your bicycle and you look at your parents and you're like, I'm out of here, like
Yeah,
that freedom feeling.
absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that, because I never really thought of it like that. But now that I think about it, when I'm skating, all I'm thinking about is skating. Like it's
Yeah.
and not falling on your ass, right? I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can forget all the rest of the stuff. So our next question for you comes from Mike St. Pierre. He wants to know if you met Drake or any other notable someone that maybe you had a party for.
Yes, I met Drake in
Yeah.
passing. It was the highlight of my life. No,
Oh God. I'm sure.
Drake rented out the facility a couple of times, and for him and his friends, and he came by. I think the coolest time he came with Serena Williams once, and he came with a couple of Raptors once. But then these were more private events. And talking about Disco Bob, Drake videoed or Instagram Disco Bob. He came and he saw Disco Bob
Oh,
skating, and he was in such awe that Disco Bob went viral. He didn't even know what Instagram was, and well, Drake obviously posted it. And Russell Peters comes to
yeah.
scooters when he's in town.
Great.
We had a TSN celebrity actually show up on Sunday. But
Oh,
but I mean, Drake is by far the famous that we've met. I met a Toronto Raptor, I met Serena Williams, who are both very famous in themselves. But was very much like how I greet people, like you mentioned. I don't go up to these people and bother them either. I walk on
Yeah.
scooters, and that's really the extent of our conversation. Um,
Right.
but it was nice when Drake was coming out.
Yeah.
It was pretty. I'm not gonna lie, it was cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah. So
Amazing. And so, like private parties like that, is that something that you offer to other people, or is it more like you can have a party room?
no,
What can people
it's
do in
it's
terms of,
it's a common offering where you can rent out the facilities yourself. I mean, what Drake did when he did it was a little bit above and beyond. Obviously,
yeah.
he has the means and the ability to make certain things happen where other people wouldn't. Yeah,
Hmm.
the rink is always available. Well, sorry, always is available for rent when we're not open for public skating, right? So
Okay.
that's what he would do. I
Interesting.
mean, if Drake's a pretty famous person, so when he did something, it was always very low key. He did it after hours. It was invite only, those kind of things, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah. Exciting.
they were cool. It was different. In addition, we do a number of productions, TV shoots, and movies at Scooters every year. Um,
Yeah.
and we meet various actors. I mean, whether they hit the fame scale or not, but they're definitely on TV.
Yeah.
We'll
Do
see
you
that.
remember some of the shows that have been
Oh yeah, we did.
that Scooter's been featured on?
Well, featured on they filmed for 3 days and it's 10 seconds in the show. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done Teen Titans, Imposters, Pretty Hard Cases last week. We did 8-Bit Christmas. We've done a few.
Wow.
I want to say we contributed to at least 3 or 4 TV or movie productions a year.
Okay, that's so
So
exciting. So, Mike, the whole time you're talking about all this, all I can think is of you being there all the time. Like,
that's
do
what,
you ever take a holiday?
you, you know.
Do you ever
Uh,
have a break?
the truth is that the pandemic changed things for us significantly.
Mhm.
Scooters were shut down for 18 months, like by
Oh my
law.
God.
By law, we had my full time staff at the time knew that Scooters was closing because again, it's been going on for 7 years. So when they had opportunities to find out stable employment elsewhere, when they came and I gave them my blessing, of course. And then when we reopened, I said, okay, well, listen, my full-time staff is gone, understandably so. If I have to work for 8 months straight, I just did nothing for 18. I was gonna bite the bullet and do it. Otherwise, back then, pre-pandemic, my life wasn't this stressful. But now, not knowing how long we're around for, to start hiring new staff, to bring them in, to train them, to make for theoretically for potentially 8 months might not be worth it. So we're just
Mhm.
promoting within. But yeah, I'm there more when the movie shoots go on than I am there normally.
Oh yeah, are you? Okay.
Yeah, because when these guys come
Yeah.
in, they build stuff, they break stuff, they move stuff around, and
Right.
I'm the only person that can say yes or no. So I have to be there, especially during the setup. Hey, Mike, can we do this? Can we do that? So I
Yeah.
can't. Those days are really long for me,
Yeah.
but
Oh wow.
all par for the course. We all have to work. Everybody's hours come at different times of the day. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as a traditional work week anymore. And now post pandemic, we got this whole hybrid thing. When I was a kid, I thought it was a dream to work from home, right? And now apparently it's
Yeah.
a reality. So uh,
Yeah.
the times have changed. My hours are just a little bit more difficult than the rest. But hey, listen, like I said,
Yeah.
we all have to work, and until that day comes where we don't have to, we make whatever
Yep. Just
sacrifices
got
we.
to do it.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're enjoying it, so
No, I enjoy
that's a
it. But
big
again,
part.
my got great staff
Yeah.
too. So I mean, if I'm ever stuck or if I need to do something, they're there for me, right? I mean, they'll be able to fill in if I had to miss a day or two.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, I wanted to ask you too. I noticed a poster there last week that I hadn't noticed before about Scooter's figure skating.
Yep.
Yeah, what's that all about?
We Scooters has always had a figure skating club. Basically, it's figure skating and roller
Oh,
skates. Um, I mean, it's believe it or not, figure skating, roller skating is huge in various parts of the world. In Europe and South America, they're part of the Pan Am Games. Um, and it's just again in Ontario and in Canada, one roller rink around, exposure. It's tough. So we have 2 coaches, Marianne and Keith, and they come out every week and they dedicate their time to these young men and women that want to be part of the figure skating team.
yeah.
And they work tirelessly at it. The challenge is that everything that all the competitions, everything around it are all at closest in the U.S. And to make the travel for the team to go down. That's not always the easiest thing, right? Again,
Yeah.
Accommodations, this and that. But they've done it in the past. Years ago, we actually threw a competition at scooters. And we're talking about it had to be there early in 1993, 94, 95.
Wow.
And we had skaters from all over, I guess Canada and the surrounding, some of the closer states came up, and they had a whole competition for a weekend. It was a long time ago.
Exciting.
Yeah. So,
do you have video footage of that still? Did you guys do any? That would be so neat to.
Back then, there was no such thing as a camera phone.
Yeah, that's right. You had to get that.
We were still putting cassettes in the handheld, right? So
yes.
We didn't get any footage. Oh, if we did, I don't. It was lost somewhere along the lines of some VHS. But
wow.
Yeah, so
Very cool.
They come out and practice every week, and they'll enter the odd competition. But again, when you're the sole team, the only team in a large country like this, it's very difficult. They work extremely hard. And there's an organization called Roller Sports Canada that has takes care of the roller skating part of skaters in Canada, if you will. But not having rinks around, they haven't had the exposure, so their numbers have been continually dwindling. And if you don't have a big team, if you will, across Canada, it's hard for an organization to be maintained. But either way, it doesn't stop our two coaches. They come in every week. They train. They do one-on-one lessons with them. Learning the fundamentals, doing jumps and doing what they call figures, and it's hard. It is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
It is not easy. I've tried to do some, not even the jumps, just what they call figures, and you need technique and skill at it. So
for sure, practice.
Yeah.
I went to visit that place you were telling me about. You guys advertise their skates, Retro Rollers in Stratford, and that was nice. They have a beautiful shop at the front, and then in the back they teach, like, I guess, roller dance, right? Because they probably have like 1,000 square foot space in the back. Or
honestly, I've never been there, so I can't speak to it really. I don't feel in. They're great people, and right now, if you need something roller skate wise, they're the best place to go to. Right? It's a little bit of a drive, but at least you're able to visualize what you're buying rather than seeing it online. It makes it a little bit easier when you're making a purchase like that. And the fact that they're good people makes it easier too.
Yeah, right? It's worth it. And Stratford's a nice place to visit. So that's so great. Oh, Mike, I love it. So there's a couple of things I noticed coming. Oh, first of all, I wanted to talk about, for people who don't know, one of the most amazing things to see on a Thursday night is when Mike says, all right, everybody clear the floor. This is the couple skate only. And couples go on and they skate together, and it is so friggin' beautiful. It blows my mind every time. And it's usually only about 3 couples, because on Thursdays anyway.
You're talking about the waltz.
Yeah, the waltz. Oh my God.
Believe it or not, again, pre-pandemic, there was about 10 couples that would waltz every week.
No, really? Where are they? They got to come back.
No, you know what the truth is that I think you come to Thursday night now. Thursday night pre-pandemic was very different, very, very different. And for whatever reason, it tended to be attended by an older generation. In their 60s. I think the average age back then was 60s. And it was always a same kind of feeling. Great crowd, great people. And then they took 2 years off because of the pandemic. And I truly believe that after 2 years of not doing something at that age, maybe you lose the confidence to do it. And I'm just guessing.
Yeah, that's true. 2 years is a long time to not be practicing a skill,
Right. So
Bill could help bring them back.
Yeah, well, Bill would have fit into the traditional Thursday nighter from before. Right?
Yeah.
She was the crowd. Bill would stick around and skate everything. Hey, I'm not saying it hasn't changed for the worse. It's just changed.
Right.
It was almost like again. It was the average age was in their 60s, and it looked like that's kind of dwindled a little bit. They decided
Uh-huh.
not, but now it's being attended by a little bit younger generation. We're a lot busier, and new people like you are coming out on the Thursday nights, and you're enjoying yourselves. So as long as you're
Yeah.
enjoying yourself, it means that there's nothing wrong.
Oh,
You
God, are
know?
we ever? I love it. There's another thing, and I'm saying this completely without judgment, but one of the things I did during the pandemic was I gave up alcohol. I thought I'm going to try it for a couple of months, and now it's been a year later, and I'm like, I feel really good. But in doing so, what happened for me, this is my own experience with it, is that I'm like, I want to do stuff that's exciting because not that drinking was exciting, but I feel like I guess I feel like I'm 12 again. Like I want to do, and so the roller skating's been really awesome because it's like, it's a venue where, there's no alcohol. You're going there, you're listening to music, you're having a good time. And it's just this new energy that I love. Like yeah,
Yeah, well, stop. No more
it's,
alcohol will help you feel better. It makes like anything better. I mean, makes us feel better, more
yeah,
energetic, and you want to try different
yeah,
things, right?
yeah, that's right. Gets you out of your comfort zone. So I saw on Instagram you have an event coming up in April to raise money for Sunnybrook Hospital.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what's happened here is, and it's, you have to excuse me, like, I actually spoke to the
Yeah.
last minute after. Uh, there is a group of students from a local college that
Okay.
are putting together a fundraiser, a roller skating fundraiser for various charities. Um, I truthfully, I don't know much more than that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know specifically what charity. I mean, I saw the post yesterday, or the day before myself,
Yeah.
and I reached out to them quite quickly because it has to be a little bit clearer what's going on because it's their event and just being held in my facility. So,
Okay, I
so,
see. Yeah.
so Scooters is hosting the facility, and if you were contributing a little bit to the charitable organization as well. Um, and then they're actually going to be hosting the event to the students and the
Okay.
team from Humber. So there's going to they have a website built, and they're going to all the social medias and all the new information will be on the new post coming up. So if anybody who's interested
Okay.
in it, they can go visit their website directly and figure out exactly where. Over the years, we've had so
Yeah.
many people reach out to me and want to do charitable events, and we have to use the word charitable loosely because everybody's definition of charitable is so different. So we stopped.
Right.
We stopped doing because I want to have a charity because we want to do something in Africa, and it doesn't matter. This event here
Yeah.
was it was a real event. They're really donating money back to some sort of brain organization, maybe at Sunnybrook,
Good. Yeah.
mental health. So I said, especially during this time, it can't hurt to help, and I'm glad I can help, and I'm glad that people are seeing
Yeah.
the post because that just means,
Good. That's so cool.
yeah,
And the disco, they said all disco. That's what caught my eye first. And then I was like, oh, this sounds good. It's for Sunnybrook.
yeah.
And yeah, that's
Well, again,
awesome.
I think they really want to capture the nostalgia of it, right? Doing things from the disco
Yes.
era, having the disco balls going and whatnot. So
Yeah.
it's definitely going forward. Uh, but again, any other details, cost of tickets, what kind of games they're having inside, if any, what they're doing in addition to, if they're playing others,
Yeah.
they would all have to be directed back to them directly.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. That sounds good. So there are a few people who have made some comments here that I just want to read back to you. All
Oh,
your peeps, Mike, you're so loved. Okay, so Sherry Lowe, we know she says we love our Sundays. He walks on the floor sometimes, LOL. Mary Jane says it's a seasoned drink. Skater Rob is laughing his ass off at something he said. Allison Forletta Hogg is watching Sherry Lowe. We will roll until we can't no more. Skater Rob quads rule. Debbie Herring, skate family forever. Sherry Lowe, we have come from Buffalo. Wow, that's
oh,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
we get people from Buffalo
uh,
every week.
yeah, that's odd. Heather Elaine Hume Wilson, diehards. Sherry Lowe, Gig and Darnell come from Buffalo. So maybe Gige and Darnell. I'm not sure how that's
Gigi,
pronounced.
Gigi.
Yeah, Gigi. Okay, Steve Jackman. Hello, Mike, Steve, and Lori here. Um, hello, Skate Fam. It's a collective of pure fun. Debbie, shout out to Port Dover. Yay me. Sherry, when you have a bad day, you just skate and enjoy the music. Steve Jackman, Fax Cherry. Don Arthur, big thanks to Mike for continuing to have a waltz for us. And Sherry Lowe says it's a great cardio. Sherry Lowe also says Russell Peters too. He skates sometimes. And Allison Forletta Hogg. Hey Mike, it's Allie. Steve Jackman, good exercise, good people for a good night.
All these people that
Yeah.
you mentioned they're great customers. They're great people. I consider them all my friends, and
Yes.
they've been skating together for so many years.
Yes.
And I've heard they tell me stories how since the '80s they've been skating together, and it's their meeting place, whether it was Scooters or somewhere else over the years.
Yeah.
They all grew up. They all met each other in skating rinks, and they've been friends for 30-40 years. And
I love it. It's way better than Tim Hortons or something. Like, come on. Yeah. So Steve Jackman, he did ask a question here. Mike, did you ever do a boogie skate? It looks like comp, but does he mean camp or I'm not sure what he boogie skate.
Boogie skate.
Like,
I don't know. I guess I kind of boogie when I skate, but that's the best I
yeah.
can answer. I don't know. I think we all have a little bit of boogie in our skate, right?
Yeah, we do. That Oh my God, that's the most empowering thing about when you learn and you're just trying to like keep your balance, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I feel like something
There you go.
else
You're
is going
like
on
you're
now. Yeah.
boogieing. I mean,
Now I'm boogieing. Yeah, so great. Mike, I'm so happy you came on today.
well, thank you for
I
having me.
love chatting with you, and I love scooters, and I give you now, having gotten to know you better, like I give you so much credit for that beautiful community you've built,
Well,
because
I thank you, and I thank all
you're
of the community for the support over the years. I mean, we go hand in hand. For like the reality is, I couldn't do it without them, and then they couldn't do it without me. And then I think we make a perfect match.
totally. It
And
is. It's so perfect.
me and my family have been blessed to that extent. Great people that come with great employees, great staff, great everything, and it's the safe haven. And we hope more people come out and try it out at least before we close if they've never done it before.
Yeah.
And we'll take Monica's advice. Don't listen to me. I mean, you can take her. She's obviously an advocate for scooters, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your business.
No problem. All right, Mike, I'm going to put you in the virtual back room. I'll be right back there with you. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody, and thanks again.
Thank you guys. Have a
Great
great
to chat
afternoon.
with you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was so fun. I could go on for another hour with Mike because roller skating is like the most amazing topic. Thank you guys. And everyone watching, I just want you to know that I see you out there skating, and you are such a huge inspiration for my friends and I, because you just make us feel so powerful, like we can do this. And it's a great, great feeling. So thank you. Thank you. Can't wait to see most of you on Thursday night. And before you go, be sure to check out our show sponsor, Brenda Badome, at brendabadome.com. If you want to get yourself some clothes from a Canadian designer, use the coupon code Get to Know Them for 22% off of your order. And please check out my jewelry line, glamjewels.com, GLAMJULZ.com, and grab yourself some lovely jewels for the roller skating rink. Take care. Have a great day. Big thanks to Mike, and keep on showing the world your sparkle. We'll see you back here next week with another amazing guest.